Hello, step-by-step guide, IRS Form 944 for 2025, Employer Annual Federal Tax Return. If you are required to file Form 944 for your business, this is how you are going to complete it. So we are going to go through it step by step, but first I'm going to share with you what to expect. Okay, so you can download the form on IRS website. So you can just go to irs.gov and tap for 944 and you download the form. You download the instruction as well. You save it, and if later there is some other forms that you need, you can come back here and look as well. So you make a copy of your form 944 and then you start completing it. So you will enter your EIN, your business EIN number, employer identification number on the line. It will go on page 2 as well. So name, it will be your legal name, your business legal name, the name you put on the document, your EIN application form. When you are filing, the legal name for your business will go under name. It will go on page 2 as well. If you have a DBA doing business as or a trade name, you'll put it under a trade name. Otherwise, you can just leave it blank. You'll put your business address as well. So form 944, page 1. So wages. So because form 944 is for the whole year, your wages that you pay during the year, during 2025, you will enter here. So we are using an example here. We are going to go to the spreadsheet and we are going to look for the total wages paid is $216.56. So it'll go on line 1. Line 2, federal income tax withheld from those employees that you paid their wages. So you'll go back to your document to look for it. So on our hours, we didn't withhold any federal income tax from the employees' wages. So therefore, you leave it blank. Line 3, if no wages, tips, or other compensation are subject to Social Security tax, you check that box and you go to line 5 and you leave those areas blank. So if, for instance, you didn't pay any wages in 2025, you are required to file Form 944. Your line 1 here, you are not going to have any dollar amount on it. And we can go to Form 944 to see, you see, that's why you download the instruction to see if they have some requirement on lines you can leave blank, line that you should not leave blank. And if you have some questions related to the form, you go to your instructions and you look for that section in the instruction to see, to read it, to use that, to guide you through it. So they do have that on page 6. You do not round to whole dollar amount. Show your sense even if it's 0. So leave blank any data field with a value of 0 except line 9. So that is what we are looking for. So therefore we will go back. If you have 0 wages pay in 2025, so you will leave line 1 blank, you will leave line 2 blank, you will check that box 3 and you will go to line 5. In this, we pay some wages, so we are completing those. So, and that wage is, or that amount is subject to Social Security and Medicare tax. Therefore, we'll put that amount on in column 1 for Social Security and Medicare wages as well, line 4A and line 4C. So, and they are asking you to time that amount by 0.124, which is employee and employer portion of Social Security tax. So this amount times that rate is giving us 26.85. The Medicare, again, they say to take that taxable amount times 0.029, which is employee and employer portion of Medicare tax, and that is giving us 6.28. We can go to our document to double check those numbers. So 26.85 and 6.28. We have it there. We can just do this a little bit. Okay, so we leave anything else blank because it does not, the dollar amount is too small for additional Medicaid tax. Excuse me. So line 4E, total Social Security and Medicaid tax, that is column 2, 26.85 and 6.28, total to 33.13. Line 5, total tax before adjustment, is taking column 2, Social Security and Medicaid tax, plus line 2, federal income tax withheld. And in this example, it total to 33.13. Excuse me. Line 6, current year adjustment. We leave a blank. Line 7, total tax after adjustment. So it's going to take line 6 and line 5. And this current year adjustment, sometimes it could be due to rounding, what you've held versus what they are saying that should be here. If there is like rounding issue that create a discrepancy, that is where you put it. So it could be a negative number, it could be a positive number, depending on what the discrepancy is between this amount and what your document is saying you withheld and deposit, you withheld. So line 7, total tax. In this instance, line 5 plus line 6 is 33.13. Line 8, qualify small business payroll tax credit. If you qualify for that credit, you will complete Form 8974 and attach it. And the credit will go on line 8. Line 9, total tax after adjustment and non-refundable credit. So you are taking line 7 minus line 8. If there is any balance left, it will go on line 9. So if you are filing 0, you didn't pay any wages, and you are filing Form 944, line 4E will be blank, line 5 will be blank, line 6 will be blank, line 7 will be blank, line 8 will be blank, line 9 will be 0, 0, 0. In this instance, line 7 minus line A is 33.13, so we put it here. So we can go back to our spreadsheet again and compare numbers here. So you can see our total tax before adjustment is 33.13. So we are going to continue. Total deposit during this year, including any overpayment that you say you don't want them to send you but to keep for you to apply to this return, you will add it on line 10. If you are you don't have any deposit made, and that is pretty much deposit is the payroll deposit, and that will go on line 10. And here we are going to assume we deposit our tax liability, therefore we are putting 3313 there. We are going to pause a little bit here and come back here. So when they are talking about deposit, when you are paying wages, you are collecting wages, you need to know you are paying wages. You need to know, or you need to choose a deposit schedule at the beginning of the year. Going into 2026, you will need to choose a deposit schedule at the beginning of 2026 for your business, and that just determines the frequency on which you are going to be making those tax liability, those payroll tax liability to IRS. That's what those deposits are. And a lot of you and I, we might fall under monthly deposit schedule, especially if you are required to file Form 944, an annual tax return. So for that, to see if you what schedule you should choose, you should pick your last 2 years Form 944 form to check line 9, total tax after adjustment, to see what your tax liability is for that. So if it is equal or less than $15,000, you are a monthly deposit scheduler. And if it's more than $50,000, you'll be a semi-weekly deposit schedule, unless you have $100,000 tax liability in one day. You'll pay the next day, and then you will switch to semi-weekly deposit schedule for the rest of the year, for that year. But a lot of us filing Form 944, since our tax liability is small, so therefore we will fall within the $50,000 tax liability for line 9. And you can see we have $33 here, so it's less than $50,000. Therefore, we are a monthly deposit scheduler. So therefore, you will need to make your payment when you pay wages. When you pay by the 15th of the following month, you need to deposit your tax liability on that wages that you pay, and that include your federal income tax withheld, your Social Security tax employee and employer portion, Medicaid tax employee and employer portion. You need to deposit those by the 15th of the following month. So that is what those deposits are about. So we'll go back to our 9, 10. We are going to assume we made those deposits 13. So balance due. Balance due is line 9, your tax liability, minus line 10, your tax already deposited, already given to IRS. So the difference between the two, if line 9 is more than your line 10, you owe tax. You'll put it on line 11. If your line 9 is less, that's your tax liability is less than what you already gave IRS your deposit, you'll have an overpayment. It'll go on line 12. And then you can check if you want them to keep it for you to apply it to the next tax return, or if you want them to send it to you. You check one of those two boxes. So, and they are pretty much giving you the option of either mailing a check or putting your routing numbers here for direct deposit. From here, we'll go to page 2, where you put your legal business name, your identification number as well. So Part 2 of Form 944, line 13. You check the first box if your line 9 is less than 2,500, and it is. Therefore, we leave the second box alone and we go to Part 3. If your line 9 is 2,500 or more, you will check the second box instead, and in that case you are going to put your tax liability, full dollar amount and cents, for each one of those months that you pay wages. So it's going to be your tax liability, and the total of those will go to line 13M and should equal your total tax liability after the credit, the non-refundable credit. So that means you have to take the non-refundable credits when you are computing or determine those liability by month. And when we come back here, because we make the payment in 1 month, if let's just say our tax liability was 2,500 for instance, and we are going to complete the second box instead, most of the months are going to be blank, and the month that we make payment, the tax liability, we are going to be putting it in for those months. Like in this instance, it's only December. Everything will remain blank. But because we do not have, our tax liability is less than 2,500, the first box is what we check, and we go to Part 3. Is if your business close or stop paying wages, you will check that box, you will put the date that it stopped paying wages, and you will add an attachment, and you can read more about it in the instructions as well. On page 5, what you need to send to IRS as attachment is going to include where the business record the payroll information. The payroll record is going to be kept, and who is going to be in charge of that information. So if it closed, and if there is a merger or a sale or a transfer, you can read about it as well, the information that needs to be provided. And each party, depend on when that change happened, from the beginning year all the way to that time frame, you are going to be filing return for that first part of the year, and the new business owner will be filing for the second part of the year that they took over. Again, you'll find more information on it in the instruction. As for this example, we will leave it blank. And if you are filing zero wages tax return, and you know that at some point you might hire people, you might pay wages, you can still leave this area blank and just continue filing your return, your zero wages, your zero tax return. Part 4, do you want IRS to contact somebody asking questions about this particular return? If yes, you complete the yes section. If no, you want them to talk to you personally, you just check no and move on. Part 5, who needs to sign this document? You are filing for your business, it's going to be you. You put your name, your business title, your phone number, you review the document, you print it out, you sign it, you date it, you make a second copy to pull away for your business. If you are filing for a client, you are getting paid for it, well, then you will complete the pay preparer use only session, as well as the preparer. You'll put your PTIN. If you are self-employed, you'll check that box, otherwise you leave that box alone. You put your business EIN number, your business phone number, your name, your business name and address. After you print the document out, you sign it, you date it, your client sign it and date it, You make 2 copies, one for yourself, one for your client for record keeping, and the original one mail to IRS. And this is how you complete Form 944 for 2025. If you are a monthly deposit scheduler and you have been depositing um, your tax liability, if you have a balance um, owed on line 11, it's just better you just log into your IRS account and just make your payment, EFTPS online account, and you just log in and make your payment. Although you have the choice to complete a voucher and mail it in as well with the form if the tax liability on line 9 is less than 2,500 and it happened during the fourth quarter, for instance. But again, if you are already create your deposit account with IRS, just log in and make that deposit. That way you won't have to worry about completing the voucher, because there is a specific way to complete it that you need to follow as well, and use a check. I recommend that over a money order because of the space you might have on the check to write compared to a money order, and things you need to put on the payment things. So, and in addition to that, when the check clears out, you'll be able to find that transfer happening through your bank account. That's another proof that they got the money, they got the form. So if you are going to complete the voucher, you'll put the balance that you owe on line 11 here, your business name, address, and your business EIN. And when you print this third page out, you cut it off here and you add it to the form. So it's going to be a loose paper a loose voucher in the envelope. The check is going to be a loose check in the envelope as well. We are not going to staple those two pieces to anything or to each other. They just stay loose in the envelope. And then you'll have your page 1 and page 2 that you can staple together. Page 1 and page 2 of the form 944, assuming there is no other attachment required. And then you'll have those two loose voucher and check added to it. One way I like to do that is using a smaller envelope to put the voucher and the check in it and write payment, and then put it in the bigger envelope, manila envelope or business envelope, like that is long for you not to fold printing paper, but just put it straight in it, your form, put it in it and put that small envelope that has your voucher and your check in it. That way they are not too loose moving around in the bigger envelope. But let's assume here that you made your deposit and of your line of anything you make your deposit of your tax liability and you don't have anything on line 11, or you are filing a zero tax return. So that means your line 9 is 00, like you'll put 0 here and you'll put 00 here for the cents. Your line 10 is blank, your line 11 is blank, your line 12 is blank. That's if you do not have any wages paid. And on line 13 you will check line 9 as well. And because again, 0 tax liability, that means your tax liability is less than 2,500. And then everything else we will do it the way we complete this one. And in both cases you have no payment to add it to this form. If you are filing 0 tax return, your line 9 is 00, you don't have payment to add to this form. If you have dollar amount here like $33 for instance, and then you make that same deposit as well, and your line 11 is blank, you do not have any payment to add to this form. The third option is line 9 is more than line 10, so you have a balance here that you need to pay. Log into your IRS account, make that payment. So that means you are going to send this in without a payment. So for those three cases, where do you mail Form 944 for 2025? So let's go to the instruction page 4 or page 7. Page 7. So you have a colon for the state, colon 1, colon 2 for without payment, and colon 3 with payment. So that means, are you adding payment to your Form 944 envelope to mail it? The answer is no for those three cases that we talk about. Zero tax return, tax liability on line 9, but you deposit it all on line 10. Third case, line 10 is less than line 9 tax liability, therefore you have a balance due on line 11, and you went to your account, you pay. So you are going to use without a payment address corresponding to the row where your state is listed. So we are going to use Iowa example, where Iowa is on the second row without a payment address corresponding to it is this one. So therefore, for a business located in any state on this row, they are going to use this address to mail Form 944 to IRS, and you can use USPS, and you mail a certified mail, so you can have that green tag receipt, and you can have a tracking, and you add that green tag and the receipt, you staple it to the Form 944 that you put aside for your business record. That way you have the proof that you mail it with the form. If later there is an essence IRS is contacting you saying they didn't receive your form, or they received it late, and you know you filed it on time, you have that proof to defend your business or to defend yourself. So, and that is that. So if you complete the voucher and put it in the envelope, then you are going to use with a payment address corresponding to the row where your state, where your business operates is located. And just make sure you mail those on time. And they have some instructions here as well for when you can make payment or without. So, and when Form 944 is due, Form 944 is due by the end of January. Of course, if it end up being a weekend or things like that, or holiday or things like that, they tend to shift it to the next business day. But I don't like to work with those gray areas, so I just prefer to know that one date that I can just keep in my head without having to check a calendar to see if that's a weekend or not. But if you are behind your filing, it might matter to you. Alternatively, you can file it online as well, and IRS has instructions for if you want to file it online. They have some providers on their website that you can choose from. And I'm trying to see when this is due, and excuse me, I'm not seeing it here, but I think I went a little bit far. But it's due, it's for the year, and it's due at the end of this January. Well, it'll be somewhere in here. And at the end, I'm sorry, they might have instructions on who can sign the document. Just, in case you are a client, you are filing for the client and getting paid for it, to require who in the business can sign it. They have instructions here as well that you can read more about. So thank you so much for watching our videos. We thank you very much for your time, and thank you for all your comments. Thank you very much for subscribing to our channel. I'm Afiavi, Liberman, Girls of Liberman Consulting, L.L.C. YouTube channel, and in sub.com, our blog. On our channel and on our blog, we share different ways to save money and different ways to make money to reach your financial independence, where you do not depend on an employer to provide for your family. And filing your own business tax return is one way to keep your business expenses low. And at the same time, you are learning the process, and it allows you to know how to track your financial data during the year to be able to file such returns that you file for your business. And when you hand it out to somebody next time, you'll know what to give them as information for them to use to file the return on your behalf and file it accurately. Because remember, whether you are filing it yourself or somebody is filing it for you, you are going to sign your return. So that means you are acknowledging the accuracy of the content of the return to the best of your knowledge. But so, to the best of your ability. So, yeah. But for the return to be accurate, will have something to do with the information that is being used to file it as well. So, yeah. Over time, you will make your tax season less stressful as you know how to gather your information during the year to be able to file your return. If you do not have a tax a payroll software to file to track your payroll, will you please check our website, ninasoap.com, our blog, on under free download. We do have some payroll spreadsheets that you can take a look at to see if you are interested in using anyone for yourself to track your payroll, especially if your payroll is small, it's just you, a business tax as an LLC tax as an escrow. Yeah, that you are an employee of your business, or you hire one or two people that you think you can track it using a spreadsheet based on how you pay them. That is something you can take a look at, or you can use it as an inspiration to design your own as well. But just make sure the formula is broken and is calculating things for you in the way that you will expect as well. And again, I'm not, as a disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer, a tax lawyer. I'm not a CPA. So I have a previous tax work experience, and I file taxes for my own business. So therefore, with my tax knowledge, I like to continue improving and continue keeping that knowledge and keep improving it. And that is why I like to make those tax videos to help you as a young business owner, if you are willing to file your own tax return, to be able to file it yourself. If your return is simple, and you will be able to do it. We have publication 15 here that you can take a look at and read through it, if to see if there is something there that you are interested in to highlight for future reference as well. And as for federal income tax, you can check publication T to see how to withhold employee to withhold federal income tax return from your employee wages. In this example, we didn't withhold anything because the amount is small. But you have publication T as well that you can rely on. And if I have it here, I can open it for you to take a look at it as well, because it has different options, and you can read through to see which option you are going to use. But just keep in mind that depending on how the frequency that you use to pay people will allow you to compare their wages to a bracket and see the equivalent amount that you need to withhold from their wages, and that only comes from the employee wages, not you, the business owner, when it comes to federal income tax. And you might still trying to figure out how much you need to withhold for the state as well. And that I do not cover that, since we have multiple states and each one of them has their own rules. But, and again, you can download this on irs.gov as well. For going into 2026, you might download 2026 one for 2026, but this one is for 2025, and you can choose the option that you are interested in. Thank you so much for your time. And this video is brought to you by our online store, digital store, LiberDownload.com. Thank you.